How'd the Texans follow up yesterday's sloppy practice? Well, there was a scary moment. There was a scrappy player. There was a lot of insight at the podium that you didn't feel you needed. And oh, yeah, Dalton Schultz addressed the fight. Let's go inside the locker room on YouTube.
Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do.
So fans, again, the crazy ass fans that are Houston Texans fans, packed the practice field once again, showing up early, a lot of rain, and they witnessed a sloppy practice. This was a sloppy practice, but unlike yesterday, it was basically the prototypical defense over offense type of day. Yesterday, I said that it was a sloppy practice, and you get the actually guys and girls saying, well, it's always like that in training camp. Nah, yesterday there were way too many penalties. And it wasn't just the prototypical defenses ahead of the offense at this point in the season type of thing. This was that today, and you had way less penalties. I don't think they got a penalty until the final team period. They ended up with 2 penalties total on offense, not even with the first team. And they cleaned it up. It was still pretty sloppy, but they did clean it up. Some good news at the start. And thanks for getting me to 10K. It is the locker room, #1 source for Texans digital content. I appreciate y'all for helping me get to 10K. The community is growing, and I very much appreciate it. You're going to appreciate Damien Pierce when you hear what he had to say. I mean, you want to talk about some insight, some perspective that I can't believe that someone that young has that type of insight. We'll hear that in a sec, but some good news at practice. I said yesterday that it looked like Joe Mixon was pretty intense and he was moving around, hopped over the rope. He was getting some side work in. So you have Joe Mixon getting some side work in. He's been doing his thing. And I got to think he's going to be back. I don't know if they put him on the field this week because he's not going to play in the preseason game. I got to think maybe they give him a week off and then we see him next Monday. I'm not a doctor, but I do know that when you start ramping this stuff up, there is kind of a little bit of a process. Tunsil's still out. Beck is still out. And Christian Harris is still out. Tunsil's getting a little bit of work in on the side. Looks like, I don't know how close he is. Beck has been working intensely on the side for a while. Haven't even seen Christian Harris working out. He's just kind of on the side. So Christian Harris, I would say, of those guys is probably the furthest out. Joe Mixon, intense, and you can kind of see him foaming at the mouth during practice. He's one of those guys you look at, and some guys, some vets seem to not mind missing practice. Joe Mixon seems to be one of those kids. Like, he almost looks like a kid that got grounded and is having to watch from his window kids play street football or something like that. That's pretty much where Joe Mixon is and what he actually looks like. Someone says I didn't see Barnett. Yeah, Barnett could have been a glue guy yesterday. If you missed the glue guy stuff, go back and check that out. For sure. The question of Damien Pierce, we're going to hear that, and it's going to get you pretty motivated. And then I'm actually going to do a video on it tomorrow because I think it deserves to be kind of praised and showcased. I thought it was that motivational for sure. Appreciate you for coming through as well. So we got Joe Mixon working on the side. One-on-ones. One-on-ones are kind of awkward for me. There's some awkwardness with one-on-ones. Before I get into that, here is a highlight of Tank Dell versus Jalen Petrie in one-on-ones. See Tank still doing that work. Nice little pass, pitch and catch, clockwork for CJ Stroud. In the NFL, the wide receiver is supposed to win the one-on-ones. I think Andre Ware said 90% of the time the wide receiver should win. when there's fans in the stands, and yesterday I saw people talking about this Mechie one-on-one, and I don't know how you put much stock in one-on-ones. It's much more rare that a wide receiver doesn't catch the ball in one-on-ones, even a guy that's like 6 down on the depth chart, than it is that they do. Like that, it's one-on-one. There's no pass rush. There's the quarterback. It has all day to throw. There's no threat of getting hit. There's no help over the top, which there will be. There's not going to be too many situations where if the other team has a Tank Dell, that D'Amico Ryans is going to voluntarily put Jalen Petrie on that wide receiver one-on-one. So it's always awkward. I was talking to Seth Payne about this on the side, and he doesn't even like to post one-on-ones just because of that, because they generate some sort of reaction. But they are fun to watch. They are very fun to watch, and they can generate an overreaction like a lot of things for sure. Scary moment in practice today. And this was in team 2. Actually, it was in team 3. CJ Stroud, kind of a scary moment. Heart kind of dropped a little bit around here. We'll get to that in a sec. But first, let's hear from D'Amico Ryans. This is the head coach of the Texans. So I don't know if it's just like rain is like his Popeye spinach or what, but Ben Scronic is all over the place. Ben Scronic has been all over the place. You see him making plays on offense. He doesn't mind to going in there and mixing up. He's out there on special teams. We hear a lot about John Mechie. John Mechie's not going to be one of those guys on special teams. Here was D'Amico Ryans, though, talking about Ben Scronic and what he's seeing from Scronic. He uses the word communication, I think, more than once.
Scronic, what are you seeing from Scronic? Scronic does a great job when it comes to special teams, does a great job of communicating, offense, being able to play multiple spots, tough guy, likes to get in there, get his nose bloody, block a little bit. So I like the physicality of Scronic, and I like how smart he is, and I like how he really does a great job of communicating.
Thanks, It's going to be an interesting decision. I think Scronic's going to be one of those guys that's going to be pretty active in preseason. I don't know if he makes the squad, but I just know that in these practices, specifically the last 2, the kind of nastier ones, you've seen him in the mix on special teams. You've seen him making plays on offense. You've seen him pretty feisty after and during the play. I think Scronic might be one of those types of guys that you might want on your football team. It's just it might be a tough choice. It might actually be between Scronic and Woods, depending on what goes on their line of thinking there and what they think of Robert Woods. But I would keep an eye on Scronic. He's been quite active, especially on special teams and especially with the on the back end of the offense. Team 1 moments, I should say. The top team 1 moments. The offense really not great at the start. The defense kind of got the better of them. It wasn't slop like last night or yesterday, I should say. But it was clearly the defense getting the best of the offense. You had a 2nd and 4 that was stuffed right at the line of scrimmage. CJ Stroud tried to go boot and then kind of across the field to Nico. Jalen Petrie had a pass breakup. And then you had Mario Edwards and Fatakasi, who, by the way, Fatakasi had a hell of a day today. He had a really good day. Now, he was involved in the scariest moment of the day. That's going to be 2 periods down. But he had a hell of a day today. And the defense got the best of the offense in team 1. Team 2 moments. We had an interception by Derek Stingley. CJ throws it to his right. Stingley just completely jumps it. I think that was his 2nd interception in team during camp. And then we had a Jawar Jordan fumble. So Jawar Jordan, who had a really good practice 2 or 3 practices ago, he had a fumble, which I'm sure the coaches don't love. And I anticipate him getting a lot of action in the Hall of Fame game. So that was team 2. Really not much going on, not too many highlights. The down and distance, they weren't keeping as clear this time as they were before. But that was where that was. Then we went to special teams 2. Special teams 2 is interesting. The observation I had for special teams is there's a lot of rookies that are on kick team, or at least getting kick team reps. You actually had Kamari Lassiter getting kick team reps. You had Hill getting kick team reps, and you had Cade Stover getting kick team reps. I don't know if Hill is going to be someone that they actually put on the field with kick one. I don't know if he's going to be active in most of the year, but there were a lot of rookies. We also saw Derek Stingley on kickoff team, which I don't, that's not going to be a normal thing, but I do wonder, like in important situations, like let's say there's a must, you've got to stop them. Let's say there's like 5 seconds left or something like that, like 5 seconds left and you're kicking off. Maybe you are putting some starters out there. Petrie's been getting reps, but it was interesting to see Stingley do that. I've seen him be in some special teams drills, but it was interesting to see him in actual team getting some reps. So then we went to team 3. The rain kind of picked up a little bit. It was kind of intensifying. I do wonder, had there not been fans in the stands, would we have seen perhaps them inside? I think it's perhaps a possibility. But D'Amico seems to like the rain. He actually said that it builds character. So the rain picked up. 1st and 10, Fatukasi had a sack. Now, this was a really scary sack because CJ Stroud got his foot stepped on. I think this is the second time that Fatukasi has stepped on his foot. Last time it wasn't as noticeable, but there was a noticeable limp between plays by CJ Stroud. CJ was limping around. He didn't miss a rep or anything like that, but you could tell it was kind of bothering him a little bit. He overshot a wide open Noah Brown across the field. And you could just kind of tell that he wasn't, it didn't feel good. I'm sure there's going to be some ice on it, but nothing to see here, at least according to D'Amico Ryans. This was D'Amico Ryans when Jonathan Alexander asked him about CJ Stroud's foot.
What did you hear from vantage point with CJ? And I assume there's no concern.
No concern on CJ at all. He's doing great, having a great camp.
He meant about fully stepping on his foot.
No concern with CJ at all. He's doing great.
Yeah. Okay. I guess that's good. It's good to hear from D'Amico. No concern at all. I was pretty scared for sure whenever that happened. Fatukasi got to go. I would say that would be one of the dumber things that they could do, because he has looked damn good. Like today, he was borderline unguardable. Fatukasi was incredible today. And I got to say this, I got to confess it. These are my confessions. Stutz might have been onto something with Mario Edwards. I made fun of him because he was talking a lot about Mario Edwards, but Mario Edwards is sticking out like a sore thumb. I don't know how many D linemen they're going to keep, but if you're just blindly watching this, that guy is sticking out a lot, and he's making a hell of a lot of plays. Mario Edwards is. Keep a close eye on him. It's going to be interesting. He's going to have to perform most definitely in games, but if he brings the juice in games that he's been bringing in camp, then I think defensive lineman Mario Edwards is going to make this a really, really, really tough decision for the Texans. But Fatukasi stepped on CJ's foot. He looks great, though. He looks really, 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 really good. And the D linemen actually looked pretty good as a whole. So then to cap off 3, all eyes kind of on CJ Stroud. I don't even think he needed medical attention or anything like that. You then had an attempted halfback pass by Stefon Diggs, who, by the way, was completely working the crowd, completely gassed up on the sidelines. There was a one-handed catch where he drew a flag, caught that anyways. He was working the crowd. They try to Diggs halfback pass. So he went in motion. They pitched it to Diggs, and they threw a halfback pass to Mechie. Jimmy Ward actually broke that up. I think the Texans Twitter caught that play. They had a pretty good view of it on the Houston Texans Twitter. The attempted halfback pass. Yes, they did. Let's take a look at this. So this was I don't know if they would run this in again. I don't know what the hell this was, quite honestly. It seemed like a lot. This is Diggs working the side first. There you go. Watch it. Working the crowd. There you go. The crowd doing the first down. Yeah, he's having a good time with the crowd. And you can just kind of see Diggs is all about it. The halfback pass. I thought they showed it. I guess it wasn't the Texans side, but basically Jimmy Ward just broke it up. Stefon Diggs kind of sailed it. Probably don't even know if you'd throw that in a game. Damn sure wouldn't run the play, or at least wouldn't recommend it. But that was where that was. Then Davis Mills came in. Cade Stover with a catch across the middle. He fumbled. It was a quick fumble. He immediately fell on it. So there was that. Then we go to team 4. Again, a pretty sloppy-ish practice, but the type of slop that you're used to, not like yesterday. We go, there's Stroud. He kind of sailed a pass to his right. Again, he hit Diggs short with Petrie in coverage. Then there was a play action dart to Diggs, kind of a sliding. CJ threw it. Diggs caught it sliding. Then there was a well-executed boot to Brevin Jordan. It was really good. It would have gotten at least 10 yards. We've seen him kind of turn on the Jets. He had a lot of open field, so perhaps could have gone for more, but it just a perfectly executed, the fake end around boot to Brevin Jordan. Then Tank Dell across the middle, an absolute dime. Then we had the first offensive penalty of practice. Dare handoff. I hate those. With Nico in motion, almost looked like they might reverse it. Then a Tank Dell sweep, not the traditional reverse, kind of the one where they throw it backwards, where he's running sideways. He had a lot of open field, but then we got the other penalty of practice, which there was only 2 the whole time compared to like 1,000 yesterday. And then there was probably a Henry To'oTo'o sack, but we would have to see it in a game to figure that out. And then the Tim Boyle, Davis Mills show, the highlight of that was Hansen had an interception. He missed it. It deflected into Mechie's arms. And that's where things ended up. I do think this is going to be a good defense. I do think that the weather conditions obviously favor the defense. I just don't really think that I would put too much stock in what the Texans are doing. But I would say I am a little bit worried about the run game. And the defensive tackles, they look really freaking good. And I know D'Amico Ryans, we talked about how D'Amico Ryans seems to like these guys, but they're looking like I'm wondering about the interior of the O-line. And I can't wait to see what it looks like when they face the Colts, but there's a lot of dominance like in the interior of this D-line, which could end up being underrated. So I don't know that I would put too much stock in that, but it is something worth noting, and it is something that's happening. The play of practice was the Derek Stingley interception. Just completely jumped on it. CJ Stroud threw into his right. Sting jumped on it. We've seen him jump on it. Jump on the ball that was thrown over the shoulder of Tank Dell. This was one of those where it was right in front of him, and he just did what Derek Stingley's been known to do. Worst play of practice was actually a really good play, the Fatukasi sack. Hey, dominate, but don't step on the quarterback's foot. I know this type of stuff happens, but, 300-plus pounds, 6'4", 300 pounds and change landing on the franchise quarterback's foot in a practice is not the ideal situation. So it was a good play by Fatukasi. He had a hell of a practice, but that's the worst play for sure. But again, just to summarize it, CJ Stroud gets his foot stepped on, a little bit of a scary moment. But this was just the prototypical defense over offense day. Appreciate y'all for getting me to 10K. Be sure to subscribe if you're not, like, right along. Got you covered every practice, every game, every day. Tomorrow they're off. I'm going to do a video tomorrow, though. It should come out sometime in the morning or the afternoon. So be on the lookout for that. Dalton Schultz, first trip to the podium of camp. We saw him in the scuffle a couple of practices ago. Dalton Schultz was asked about the fight by Cody Stutes. He said, "It's just football, bro."
Into scuffle, dust up the other day.
It's just football stuff, bro. It's just football shit.
No hard feelings.
No.
Yeah, I don't know if the way that Stingley hit him is just football, but they've obviously moved on past it. And he says that it is just football. Okay. So we got that. A couple of other trips to the podium that I thought were interesting. And this one is this is just the nerdy stuff that if we're going to cover this thing in depth, this is the type of stuff that comes up in here. I don't think that they're going to cover this on like the national scale, but we've talked about the new kickoff rules, and people have been asking, you know, could Tommy Townsend kick off? We've only seen Fairbairn, haven't seen anyone but Fairbairn kicking off. So I decided they sent Tommy Townsend to the podium. I just asked him, is that something that you can do?
Is there any situation where we would see you doing that?
Yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean, hopefully it gets to the point where, you know, I don't have to hit kickoffs, but it's something I can do, you know, if called upon. But yeah, maybe I should start practicing a few here and there just to just to get the leg back. But
yeah, I that's a no. That seems kind of like a no for me. We haven't seen him practicing. He's saying he's willing. I don't think that Tommy Townsend is going to be kicking off anytime soon. Again, that's just the nerdy stuff. We cover all three phases. We cover this squad. I don't expect you to like gush over a punter, but that's just the type of information that you can get here. Next one, this one was interesting. So, look, I don't pretend to be an expert on punting. I just know that the difference between what Cam Johnston's punts look like and what Tommy Townsend's punts look like, it's night and day. Tommy Townsend's, they hang in the air for a long time. Cam Johnston's, they seem to travel a damn mile when he punts them. And the reason that we are so focused on the punter in Houston, and if you've been riding along with this channel, you experienced it with me, is the first 4 games last year without Cam Johnston sucked. I mean, it was a miserable experience, and there was a noticeable difference once he came through here. But yeah, it doesn't seem like Townsend likes to. But man, just if you're a football nerd and you don't really like talk much punting, I thought this was badass from Tommy Townsend because, as I said, I don't know how to explain the difference between Cam Johnston and Tommy Townsend's punting. I just know it looks different. Listen to this. I asked Tommy Townsend about their different styles. This was actually really, really good. It kind of surprised me a little bit. At first, I just thought he was going to say big shoes to fill, but he actually went in depth on why there's different styles between him, Cam Johnston, Australian punters and stuff. This is a football nerd's dream right here from Tommy Townsend.
Cam Johnston, is there any difference in y'all's games or anything like that? It seems like you have a lot of game time. Is that the difference?
yeah, I mean, there's quite a few differences between our games. I mean, Cam is definitely another big leg punter, and here I am coming into another situation with big shoes to fill. So I'm excited for that challenge. But yeah, I mean, coming in after Cam, yeah, we've got some similarities, some differences. He hits a lot of the end over end balls across field. You know, just from his Australian background, I don't really do that a whole lot. I'm kind of a hang time big ball punter, just, you know, bang the ball downfield and let the guys go work. But something we've been working on a lot is directional punting and really trying to attack sidelines and you know, just put the gunners in the best position possible for them to go down and work.
See, I end over end booming. They're working more on hang time. I think that's valuable information. I mean, maybe. I mean, Some of y'all might say, why the hell are you asking a punter a question? Well, he was at the podium, and I wanted to figure it out. So two key pieces of info for me. I don't anticipate him kicking off, although he says he'd be willing to, and just the different style. So if you're used to the Cam Johnston, holy crap, that was 70 yards in the air type of thing, I don't think we're getting that. I think we're going to get a little bit more directional, a little more hang time. He can still boom it. Pretty used to kicking in bad weather too, I would assume. But that will be something to check out. Let's get motivational. Damien Pierce. Damien Pierce, I'm going to go more in depth on this with you guys tomorrow with Damien Pierce. But I just thought this was interesting. And it was one of my favorite interviews of last year where Damien Pierce in the middle of the struggles and in the middle of what was going on with him and coming off the rookie season and big things expected, couldn't even get on the field, found his way on the field by doing kickoff returns. And then the middle of that, when he was with Sean Pendergast after the game, he had a really good perspective and appreciation for the lesson that he was learning. And it's one thing to reflect on it, but I thought the fact that a 23, 24-year-old, whatever the hell he was, could do that in the moment, I thought it was just kind of impressive. So I asked him about it. My man gave me a really, really good answer. I actually asked the follow-up because he gave like the insight into last year, but then I just asked him, like, how is someone your age able to do that in the moment? I think you're really going to like this from Damien Pierce. It's hard not to root for this guy. All right, I'm getting this Damien up. Let me. Here's the Damien Pierce. I was just kind of looking there. Let me get my act together. Kind of got the Saturday slumps. Here's Damien Pierce talking about how he felt. Here we go, fellas.
With me and not giving up on me, and I can't thank him enough.
Last year, in the middle of the season, you weren't even reflective. Like in the moment, you were saying it was a very valuable year for you, perhaps the most important as a pro. What allowed you, like in the moment where a lot of people would be frustrated, to have that type of mindset? And do you still feel like last year was real valuable for you?
Yeah, 5 years from now, bro, I'm gonna be able to say that year 2 was my best year. Probably not on paper, but the process and the growth that I had mentally is going to be something that's carry over to every year that I play in this league. Just being able to deal with the lows, being able to battle through injuries, being able to bounce back, being able to just sit back and see that, it's necessarily not a bad thing. It's unfortunate, right? Nobody wants to be on the sideline. Nobody wants to be hurt. Of course, I want to be, I want to be Peasy. I want to be DP. I want to be out there making plays. I want to be out there with my guys. I want to be out with my brothers. But ultimately, like, the first step in solving a problem is honesty. And if we're being honest, I didn't invest enough time into myself. I didn't invest enough time into my body. I didn't invest enough time in making sure I was, clear on the playbook and sound in my fundamentals. So at the end of the day, the only person I can point the finger at is me. So knowing that and going through that process with that mentality, it helped me a lot in terms of, not trying to point the blame at anybody else and just owning my situation, coming back, showing the coaches that I've grown, showing the coaches that I got in better shape mentally and physically.
What allows you to do that in the moment, though? Because you're young. I know I wouldn't be able to do that. Like, what allows you in the moment to be able to do that?
I just have a great circle of people around me. I have a lot of, I think the most important thing about my circle is I have a lot of people who are honest around me. You know, I got a lot of people who aren't afraid to tell me, hey, DP, you know, you tripping, bro. Like, this ain't you. Like, get better, do better. Like, I expect more from you. I got a lot of people who have a lot of high expectations of me, and also I have a high expectation of myself. So anything a coach can say to me, anything, you know, my mom can say to me, I done already beat myself up 1,000 times over it before they can even come to me once about it. So that just goes to show, you know, how hard I am on myself and how I internalize that and how I process that, and, you know what I'm saying, doing it in a healthy way. I think that's the most important thing, doing it in a healthy way, having a circle around me, and just going through it like that, man. I just know, like, my mom, she's somebody I lean on a lot of times. Like, now I hate to say it, but like when I get in my moods, you know, I get the moods where I don't want to talk to nobody, and she understands that, but she keep pushing me. She's like, hey, I know you're mad right now, but I'm here. I still love you. And I just want to apologize to her publicly. Like, you know, Mom, I'm sorry. I still love you. You know, ain't no love lost. But I definitely got to give credit to my mom, you know, for being my rock always, like she always has been. And just, you know, years like that, like, I just know my mom is one of the people, like, in years like that, she's going to be the one with me at my lowest lows, and she's going to be the person by me through my highs, and everything in between.
Man, I mean, who can't root for that guy? I mean, that is an easy dude to root for. Hope everyone has a good weekend. I probably need a little bit of a nap, but that was practice. We got an off day tomorrow. We'll still have videos, though, so be on the lookout for those. And then, you know what? It's game week. We got a game. We are so close to a game. It's ridiculous. We are 5 days away from a game, and we're going to get to look at the running backs. We're going to get to look at the new kickoff, and we're going to do the post game right here. We're going to be thousands deep. I'm anticipating at least 1,000 on the first post game. So it's going to be really, really fun, and it's going to be really, really cool to see what this team is about. And it's really, really easy to root for guys like Damien Pierce. Obviously, CJ Stroud, scary moment today. D'Amico Ryan says nothing to worry about. He's probably going to ice up, and we're all going to be in this together, as we always are when it comes to the locker room. Once again, thanks for getting me to 10K. If you're not subscribed, please do so. Fun times ahead. It's going to be a lot of fun this season, and we got you covered, and we're all in this together. Thanks for coming through to the locker room. That's your practice update. We'll be back tomorrow, Monday. They'll be back on the field, and we'll be getting ready for a game.
You know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localize every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not too. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days, opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up, we number 1. You don't need to try your luck. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room.